Hi, I'm Rita Wilkins, also known as the Downsizing Designer. Have you ever wondered how designers or other creative people keep coming up with one idea after another? Me too. No, I'm just kidding. It's so funny because I had never really even taken time to question that myself because I have been fortunate to, be able to generate a lot of ideas over my lifetime. But recently, I was with a client and she said to me, Rita, how is it that you come up with one great idea after another? And that was very flattering, of course. But as I was picking ideas for what I would like to speak about on my Facebook Live and also on my YouTube videos, I thought, I wonder if that's something that people are curious about. So I thought I would explore it. And so if you're not particularly creative, but you would like to be, or if you just want to be able to generate many ideas, I thought maybe this YouTube video will help you. So one thing I do know for sure as I started exploring this is as I am challenged by a big project or something big, my book was a big challenge, some of our design projects are huge challenges, I hear myself saying something like, I have no idea how to do this, but I'm going to figure it out. Or the second thing I hear myself saying is, I've never done this before, but I'm going to give it my best shot. So one thing that I have kind of discerned is that there may be three key ingredients to generating many new ideas. So the first one would be to be open and somewhat fearless. Not knowing, the end, but somehow enjoying and embracing the journey in the in-between. So for me, downsizing was one of those challenges that I took on. I had no idea at the beginning that I would be giving away 95% of my stuff and that I would actually be really happy about that. But what I kept wondering, what would it be like to create a new lifestyle? So it was scary, it was messy, but I had no idea that the outcome would be as profound as it has been. So by being open, by being fearless, and also being curious, those are three mindsets that I realize, that over and over and over again I use in my life, in my design life, in my real life. And when you are curious, it's one of those times you can kind of be like a kid again and just let your imagination run wild, to give yourself permission to step out of that comfort zone onto the skinny branches and explore what's possible. So in my design world, for sure, that happens to me every single day. So a second key ingredient to generating new ideas and many ideas is what I call a skill set. So the ability to, as my son would say, see through walls or see things differently. Look beyond whatever the existing circumstances, the existing conditions are, and the way that things are right now, they don't have to be that way. So if you can start to think beyond the walls of your home or in your life, think beyond the way it is right now and just imagine what it could be. The second skill set would be the ability to generate multiple ideas, one right after the other quickly. And they aren't all good, believe me. But the more you get out there, it's like a brain dump. The more you get out there, the more you just say, well, that one's not too bad and that one's not too bad. So, and then to test them if they work or they don't work, and testing is another whole process in itself, but just generate the ideas and let that part be messy. And the other thing there is to not get attached to this being such a perfect idea until you've explored many other possibilities. So that one big idea ultimately can come, but I honestly, there are times that I'll generate 25 or 50. And one example was this week I was working on a space planning project, and there were 22 iterations of one drawing. And what ended up being was really an awesome drawing. The client was extremely happy with it. But it took me 22 times to keep perfecting it and perfecting it. And anyway, so it is an iterative process. And the third skill set is the ability to solve problems. So as a designer, that is what I do every day. We create solutions for problems. And it's the ability to connect the dots, see what works, what doesn't work. And that's why we propose a number of options, because this one could be better than that one. And so we just keep exploring the different options. The third key ingredient to generating new ideas is having a really good toolbox or toolkit. So my number one tool is asking questions. So that tool helps me to, as Huckleberry Finn said, get in someone's shoes and walk around in them. And by doing that, I could actually feel what they're feeling, experience what they're feeling, and then I can better help solve the problem. So as an example, when our dad was in a nursing home, he was incapacitated with a stroke. For 5 years, I went to visit him, and when he was laying down, I would sit in his wheelchair. And that experience was so amazing because I would try to do certain things from the wheelchair, and it was like a muscle memory. So that experience of literally walking in his shoes was very helpful to me, and it helped me think differently when I work with handicapped clients. So another experience, there was one time I walked into a major medical office that I was going to be working on. It was the first time I was meeting with the client, and I remember just being astounded at the front desk and thinking, how can they possibly work there? Simply because it was too narrow for the desktop and then the keyboard and then any paperwork that they had. But anyway, by feeling what they were feeling, I was able to solve their problem. So design is a process. There's a beginning, there's an end, but then there's what I call the messy middle. And you think about the before and after pictures in a portfolio or on HGTV and everything. It's always interesting to see the before and then the after, but you don't always get to see what happens in the middle. And frankly, that's where I think all the fun is. I call it the messy middle. That's where ideas are generated, solutions are created. It's kind of where I have a lot of fun. It's messy, it's never pretty, and it does take time. So what happens with ideas is they just evolve, one feeds off of the other, and then it expands it, and so ultimately, it gets refined into, what you might call your one big idea. So where does inspiration come from? And it's kind of an interesting question, because when you think about comedians get much of their content from watching people, just looking around and seeing all the silly things that we do, and because they pay attention, they're looking closely at how what do people do when they're sitting around in an airport, and anyway, whatever they're looking at, they are inspired by content, by watching people and listening to those conversations. So the same is true of design. So by listening to what people complain about, that this chair is really uncomfortable for sitting here for more than an hour at a time, the desk, it's too low, it's too high, it's not deep enough, the sofa is terribly uncomfortable to sit there for any length of time. Those are the things that people complain about. And so when you listen, it inspires ways to solve the problem and to create ideas for solutions. And so the other thing is to listen to what they want. So it's what they complain about, what they want, what they need, and what they wish for. So a typical wish might be something like, if you're designing a kitchen, it could be, I really wish that I could be in the kitchen cooking and yet at the same time be with my family and my friends. Or, this is happening right now in COVID, I wish I had a dedicated home office that was completely set up that I could close the door and really function well. Or Another one is, I wish I had a home that, or it could be retrofitted so that it's safe as we age. So those are some of the wish lists that I'm always listening for. So it's their problem, and then my role as a designer is to generate ideas to create solutions. And a second way to get inspiration is to just be cognizant of what time of the day are you most creative. I'm a very early riser, and I know that for me to do my best work and my hardest work, I do early in the morning. So when maybe you're a late night person, so that's maybe when you turn on. But I would be cognizant of that. A third thing is, I think about kids, and I now have a granddaughter, so just watching how they learn, watching how they process stuff, watching how they grow. It's pretty amazing. So from that I'm learning so much again. But it's about asking questions, because kids will ask questions about anything, and then it's about throwing out ideas. What do you think of this? And getting their feedback and actually listening. So it's a lot about brainstorming. And then another way to be inspired is, of course, nature. Being with yourself, in nature, and just really participating in the beauty of it all, particularly now that it's fall. So get outside, exercise, time to think. And I always have a notebook with me because I write down little ideas. The other day, it was the way that the light was shining on a little pebble, but it was just the most beautiful thing. And so where I'll use that, I don't know, but it's going to be my list of inspiration, so maybe it'll be for a color palette or something somewhere. So another way to be inspired is to study other similar projects. In my world as a designer, there are a number of designers that I really admire. I love their work. And so I do study what they've done, how they solve those problems, and what the end solutions were. And so that helps me be inspired for maybe one little piece of that project. So, oh, that's a great idea. I can, map off of that. I can use that. So, you can do something similar. So if you love one of your neighbor's homes, the kitchen, the bathroom, whatever it is, you can take little pieces of that and be inspired by that for you to create your own solution then. And then, of course, there are things like mood boards or vision boards. All of those kinds of things do help people to be inspired. So today, what I would like to challenge you to do is that start thinking like a designer, out of the box, see through those walls, try to look at things differently, and pick one area of your home or of your life that you would like it to be different, and then start generating ideas of how you could change and engage other people in the process. There's nothing like a brainstorming session, and or just getting feedback and build on that idea. So creativity and idea generation is definitely a vital skill that can help you in all areas of your life. Test your idea, see if it works. If it doesn't, just fail fast, and most of all, learn how to have fun. So I hope this has helped you. I'm at Rita Wilkins at ritawilkins.com. You're free to reach out to me for a 30-minute complimentary call. I'd love to talk to you and see if I can help you in any way. Thanks.